Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Istiazah Syaharani and today I would like to present my literary analysis of the movie Children of Heaven using Marxist theory. So, have you ever imagined that losing a pair of shoes could completely change someone's daily life? Maybe for many of us, the answer is probably no. If we lose our shoes, we can simply buy another pair. We may feel upset for a while, but the problem is usually easy to solve. However, Ali and Zahra face a very different situation. After Ali loses Zahra's shoes, they cannot buy a new pair because their family does not have enough money. As a result, they decide to share one pair of shoes every day. Zahra wears them to school in the morning, and after her classes finish, Ali quickly puts on the same shoes and runs into his own school. This simple problem becomes the beginning of many challenges in their daily life. When I watched this movie for the first time, I thought it was just a touching story about two children who love each other. But after learning about Marxist theory, I realized that the movie gives us a deeper message. It shows how poverty can affect people's daily lives, their education, their opportunities, and even the decisions they make. That is why I choose this theory for my presentation today. So guys, before we move to the analysis, let me briefly explain what Marxist theory is. Marxist theory comes from the ideas of Karl Marx. This theory focuses on social class and economic conditions. According to Marxism, people have different opportunities because they have different financial backgrounds. Some families have enough money to live comfortably and meet their daily needs without much difficulty. On the other hand, lower class families often have to work very hard just to afford basic necessities such as food, clothes, or shoes. So, because of this difference, people experience life in very different ways. Marxist theory also explains that money can influence many parts of life, including education, work, relationships, future, and opportunities. When we use this theory to analyze a movie or a literary work, we try to understand how the characters' economic conditions shape their lives and create the conflicts in the story. I think Children of Heaven is very a great example of this theory because almost every important event in the movie is connected to poverty. The story does not focus on expensive things or luxury. Instead, it shows how one simple pair of shoes becomes something very valuable for a family that has very little money. As we go through the analysis, we will see that the lost shoes are only the beginning. Behind this small incident, the movie presents a much bigger picture about poverty, social class, and economic inequality. So now, let's move on to the analysis. So the first thing that caught my attention is the main conflict in the movie. At the beginning of the story, Ali accidentally loses Zahra's shoes after taking them from the repair shop. When I first watched this movie, I thought the problem was simply about losing a pair of shoes. However, after looking at it through Marxist theory, I realized that the shoes are not the real problem. So the real problem is poverty. If Ali's family had enough money, they could easily buy another pair of shoes and the story would probably end. Unfortunately, that is not their reality. Because of their financial condition, buying a new pair of shoes is not easy decisions. That is why one small accident becomes a serious problem for the whole family. I think this is one of the strongest messages in the movie. The director does not need to tell us that the family is poor, instead, he lets us understand it through their daily life. Ali and Zahra decide not to tell their parents about the missing shoes. They know that their parents already have many financial problems. Instead of asking for new shoes, they try to solve their problem by themselves. This decision tells us a lot about their situations. Even though they are still children, they understand that money is limited. They choose to protect their parents from another burden. Another scene that I find very meaningful is when Ali and Zahra share one pair of shoes. So every morning, Zahra wears the shoes to school, and after school, she quickly meets Ali and gives him the shoes. Then Ali runs as fast as he can to arrive before his class starts. This happens almost every day. For many students, going to school is something simple. But for Ali and Zahra, even going to school becomes a challenge because they do not have enough money to buy new shoes. From a Marxist perspective, this scene shows how poverty affects everyday life. It does not only affect big things such as finding a job or buying a house. It also affects simple daily activities including going to school on time. The movie reminds us that poverty can create problems that many people never even think about it. So because Ali has to wait for Zahra, he often arrives late at school. This is another example of how financial hardship influences education. The children are willing to study, but their economic condition creates obstacles that are beyond their control. In my opinion, this is what makes Children of Heaven such a powerful movie. It does not use dramatic speeches to talk about poverty. Instead, it tells the story through simple moments that feel real and honest. As viewers, we slowly understand how difficult life can be for a family with very limited resources. And this is exactly what Marxist theory helps us see. The conflict is much deeper than a lost pair of shoes. It is a reflection of how economic inequality shapes people's daily lives. Now that we understand how poverty creates the main conflict, so let's continue by looking at how social class affects the characters' opportunities and future. Okay, now let's move to the final part of my analysis. One of the most memorable scenes in the movie is the running competition. At first, it may look like an ordinary school race. However, when we look at it through Marxist theory, this competition has much deeper meaning. So when Ali sees that the third prize is a pair of shoes, he immediately becomes interested. His goal is very different from the other participants. Most of the children want to become the champion because they enjoy the competition or want to receive an award. But Ali joins the race because he wants to bring home a pair of shoes for Zara. His decision is influenced by his family's financial conditions. For Ali, the competition becomes an opportunity to solve a problem that his family cannot solve with money. I think this one is the most touching moments in the movie. Ali is not thinking about himself, he is thinking about his sister. His love for Zahra is important, but from a Marxist perspective, we can also see that poverty changes the way he sees the competitions. Instead of chasing success, he is trying to meet a basic need. During the race, Ali runs with all his strength. He keeps thinking about the shoes and hopes that he can finish in the third place. But something unexpected happens. Although everyone celebrates his victory, Ali looks disappointed. He wins first place instead of third place. As a result, he does not receive the prize that he really wanted. This scene reminds us that success can have different meanings for different people. For Ali, the greatest success would have been bringing a pair of shoes home for Zahra. Another important symbol in this movie is the shoes themselves. Throughout the story, the shoes represent much more than footwear. They represent a basic human need. Something that seems simple for many people becomes something precious for Ali's family. From a Marxist perspective, this symbol reminds us that access to basic necessities is not the same for everyone. Economic inequality affects people's daily lives in ways that are often invisible to others. The shoes connect almost every important event in the story. Because of the shoes, Ali runs to school every day. Because of the shoes, Zahra worries about her brother. Because of the shoes, Ali joins the running competitions. This simple object quietly reflects the family's financial struggle from the beginning until the end of the movie. Okay, now I would like to conclude my presentations. Marxist theory helps us understand that Children of Heaven is a movie about poverty, social class, and economic inequality. Through Ali and Zahra's experience, we can see how financial problems influence education, opportunities, and even small decisions in everyday life. One thing I really like about this movie is the way the director presents these issues. He does not use long speeches or dramatic scenes to explain poverty. Instead, he tells the story through simple moments that feel honest and realistic. As viewers, we can understand the family's struggle without anyone directly telling us that they are poor. In my opinion, this is what makes Children of Heaven such a meaningful movie. It reminds us that something as ordinary as a pair of shoes can have a very different meaning for people living in the different economic conditions. So finally, this movie encourages us to appreciate what we have and to be more aware of the challenges that many families still face today. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.